we're going to go on to this other thing over here. And then 15 years later in Vietnam, same thing.
We back.
And that's where you get your A1, you get your O1s, your O2s, your Ravens, your Coveys, all the facts out there, as well as uh, uh, everything else that's been very very well documented. So if to add a giant dose of nerdery to the podcast, I mean, if you're a Battlestar Galactica fan, man, all this has happened before, and all this will happen again. Like
Oh,
we're gonna get into a fight somewhere.
what a great quote.
Thank you. I'm glad. See, it's one of those things where a bunch of people are not going to get it, but the people who do get it, they're going to be your best friends. So, yeah, like this is going to happen again. We are going to get in a fight somewhere, despite the Air Force and the DoD's best efforts to plan for, only high-end Russia or only high-end China or only whatever. But the one thing we've been perfect at is not getting it right as far as the future fight goes. And I'm willing to bet that we're going to have to go back out there once again and support the 18-year-old kid with a rifle who's trying to hold on to ground, because in the 8,000 years of recorded history, that's what we do, is we send young people into places with weapons that hold ground. And we're going to need people who are experts in the air domain in terms of backing those guys up. So I'm willing to bet that there will be hog drivers at least still alive, or somebody who at least remembers how to do all the stuff that we've been talking about here for a while, to kind of replant the seeds, if you will, in terms of how to do all those things. But that was a long rant on my part. But
No.
I'm sure I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about all that.
And that's perfect, because like that's where, again, when you look back at military history, is yes, you always have to prepare for the future fight, but it seems that in preparing for the future fight, you don't learn from history again. That you're just like, this has happened every time. Something happens every single time, and that to your end of either ground you hold, you have to hold it somehow. Like you take ground, you have to hold it somehow, and that's going to be the case in warfare forever. In the event that we elect to do it, and we've talked on previous podcasts where it's like, I mean, the future war with, like, if that were to occur with China, that is awful. Like nobody wants that. So we prepare for it, but at the same time, you still have to hold on to the basic skills that have been present in warfare throughout history. And I am also concerned, but not worried. The thing that concerns me is that we have a game plan to get rid of the A-10, and then it truly, the actual mission set and culture goes away. It's like, because at some point there is going to be nobody there to teach CAS, to teach CSAR, to teach FAC-A, which we can get into, because Kill Chain Solutions Inc. sounds like a fantastic way to steal money.
Don't steal my idea, man.
Dude, I'm not going to steal your idea.
Kill Chain Solutions Incorporated. It's a good idea.
That's the thing.
That's how we all get rich.
What I don't want is I don't want all the hog pilots to go away, and hog pilots that have done some of the things that you guys have done and that we have done, and there's nobody there to talk about it, and nobody there to be the dude in the room that raises his hand and be like, hey, I know how to do that. And they can take those concepts and apply them to whatever airplane or platform or room they're sitting in. That cannot go away. And I'm, again, Satan, like to your point, I'm concerned, not worried, because I don't think it will. I think there's enough, and people that care enough, specifically a few of you guys, that care enough, that are not going to let it die.
Well, I think what worries, I mean, that is, everything you said is true about concerned but not worried, I guess.
Yep.
Semantics.
Yeah, no, but I know what you're saying. My actual worry, to go like a step past concern, if you will, is that, like, I am in a unique position, right, where I'm going. And people like me that are switching from, 8, 9, 10 years in the hog, I'm going over to the F-35. I am very specifically being told, you will teach B course and TX. Why? Well, 2 reasons. One is we don't have enough F-35 pilots in the CAF. So people that are like F-35 babies that have been doing it forever we need them in UK, we need them in Alaska, we need them at Hill, right? We need them in the fighter squadrons in the CAF. The other one is, how do we take everything we just talked about and like maybe, just maybe, when I am at Eglin and I am teaching a TX course or a B course, and like in the bar one day, we talk about, hey, remember that time like your HUD didn't work? Granted, I mean, it's weird, there's no HUD in F-35. It's going to freak me out. Flash, please help me when I call you and I say, what is going on in this jet? But it's like, hey, like when you talk about it, at least maybe some of the young dudes are like, oh, yeah, we should probably think about what does that mean if I have this thing fail? Can I still do this? Can I still do that? Right. And I think we were talking about it on, again, your 6 million text reference earlier. Like we were talking about it, and it's like, dude, when things fail in the A10, the jet is designed to still work. Again, I don't know, but it sounds like in newer jets, there are certain things that like when it doesn't work, you don't go.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? But that helps us in saying like, do I train to that? If the answer is I don't take off, the answer is no. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of brain bites. But for the things that you still can't take, making sure that the dudes understand why I said, like, I think it was in the text chat, it was like, I think people need a working understanding of the physics and the technology behind what they have. They don't need to be experts. They don't need to be the engineer, but they need to understand how it works so that when it's not working properly, like, okay, cool. I know why it's not working. I know what I'm getting out of that system. I know what I'm not getting out of it. Here's how I do my job with that limitation.
Right.
So that's where like it's a difference. We're in like, I think it's the best example in the HN is like we know how the gun works, right? And you had a gun malfunction, and you're like, hey, maintenance, this is what happened. And then of course you get like I'm going to say crusty old senior, but like they're all. I actually had great experience with all my maintainers, especially in the 75th. But like they're like, this kid doesn't know what he's talking about. He messed up. The gun isn't broken, and you're like, well, no, this is what happened. I think it's this. This is probably what like the issue is, and it's because you understood your system. The difference is that's mechanical, and it was designed by like hard men in the 60s. Now in future jets, it's engineers with code, and it's like, hey, what band is that in? What frequency is that on? And understanding that, like, hey, I have systems that just straight up don't work in certain parts of the spectrum, and I need to understand that. And if I don't understand that, I'm going to get to what you were talking about, Flash, which is guys being like, I don't understand, like, why didn't I see that guy? It's like, well, like, there's a little bit of physics behind why you didn't see that, and you have to relate that to the systems you have and understand why. And like, if I see that in the 35 we're not getting that like working understanding, I'm assuming we are, but maybe we're not. Maybe there's so much going on and so many things to learn that there's no time. And I think it's kind of like in the B course, we saw it when we were at WIC, really was my second Korea tour, where you started to see dudes be like, dude, we teach like FAM for certain things in the B course now, in the A10, that we're like, wait, that's a FAM thing? And they're like, yeah, we figured you would just teach that in the CAF. I'm like, that's fine, but we need to know that dudes are coming out of the B course having like one ride with this particular, thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's
my worry. That is my actual worry, is that maybe we have gone.
I'm not sure like what we need to have is again that concepts that have been tried and true and just understanding of the end state of the mission, like where we don't have really an understanding of the end state of the mission because of whatever reason. And so now when things start to degrade or dynamic things happen, is you're just like, I still have an eye on the prize of like what the end state is. I have to get there somehow. And I can still get there by doing this. And I can still get there by doing this.